Hi everybody, welcome. I'm Chaotic Neutral Cosplay, or CJ. I'm going to be doing a series on my YouTube channel that are just different Danmei reviews that I've read, some of the less popular or less known Danmeis, because I think they're really cool and I would love for more people to read them. So we're going to be talking tonight about Golden Terrace, or Golden Stage, which is commonly known. November 18th was when the books came out. The special edition is going to be releasing, I think, January 23rd, which has all the merch and stuff, which is what Nori and I are waiting for, because, yeah. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what you can expect for that. If you're interested in picking up a copy, I'll put the link below, because it's one of my favorite Danmei. It was the first non-MXTX Danmei that I read, so I'm super excited to talk about it. And joining me tonight...
Hi, I'm Sarah. My social media is all under Perfection. It's linked on all of their accounts. It's spelled a little weird, but you'll find me. I have not read Golden Stage. He rants about it to me all the time, though. I know a lot of what you've told me, and mixed in with some fanon and other things that I have also picked up. But I'm just excited to read it. I'm waiting for our novels to come in.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm one hell of a cosplayer, or Valkyrian Cos on social media. I have not read Golden Stage. However, I am heavily involved in like Danmei cosplay and reading Danmei. I have a Danmei shrine over there. Promise it's there. So I understand a lot of the tropes and such in there, and CJ has also ranted to me about this on the train to Komori and back from Komori as well. But I'm excited to learn more about it, because I'm looking forward to reading it at some point, so.
Yes, hello, I'm Nori, or you can find me at Cloudpop.cos, anywhere you'd want to find me. Yes, at SakuraCon, you definitely ranted to me quite a bit about Golden Stage, and I was like, okay, I have to read this. So I got home, and then I read all of it, and that's why I'm here. So
I'm doing
Spread the word.
My best to spread the Golden Stage gospel, because it's so genuinely good.
There's a cycle, a pattern, if you will.
So we're going to go through like kind of the content warning, just things you should be aware of, and then the reasons you should read it anyway, and then the 18 plus content. So suicide attempts, murder, revenge, forced to drug use, death from drug use, mentions of serial retaliation, people hurting other people, historical violence and war. The main pairing will literally make you feel unappreciated by your partner, no matter how wonderful your partner is.
I gotta
step up your standards, Sarah.
I need to redesign the house.
Yeah, you do.
I have. It's a cosplay house.
Okay, valid. Minor ableism, lots of minor characters who get introduced but do absolutely nothing and then disappear a few chapters later and you never see them again. As for reasons that you're like, okay, I've heard all of this, CJ, why should I read this now? Because it is literally the sweetest, sassiest romance, ever. I don't know how to describe this to you unless you have read the book, because it is just like relationship goals. I'm sorry, you really gotta step up the game here. Like I had high bar.
Harshang is devoted.
I know. I had a high bar, and the two of them just came in and smacked the bar out of the way, and we're like, this doesn't exist. Your bar's up here now.
oh geez, I'm literally like scrolling through my phone here, like, oh, let's see what I've got. Let's see. Because apparently I have a lot, because I have like, how many things are in this? 114. So, like, clearly there was much to take note of. But it's mostly just them, like, it's all the cute moments where they're just, like, they acknowledge their feelings for each other.
Oh, that's cool.
I love them. They are amazing. Yeah, they will literally make you raise your standards. It's a very positive relationship model. There's actually one point in time where one of the author's notes said that, oh, I should give the main couple therapy for Christmas, and I'm just sitting here, like, they literally just talked about their problems and worked them out, as opposed to, like, Bingchu, who were like, we're not a couple. They literally have a scene where they sit down and they talk like, we're not communicating how we used to. How do we want to communicate in the future?
story didn't end
to
there.
understand each other better. And then they do it. And I'm just like, wow! It's not a set, but the author has written a second novel that doesn't involve the main characters, but they are mentioned in the second novel, and it's set in the same world. So if you can't get enough of this specific world, there is another novel that has the same setting, which is really cool. And then there's a lot of caring for sick or wounded partner in this one, which is also really sweet. And then for the best part, for the 18 plus rating on this particular novel, there is nothing explicit in this one. They do have a lot of sex, but it's not explicit. It's more like it's implied. So it's a very safe novel for, like, if you're reading it at work or something. So
I know, like, CJ and I have talked before about the difficulty of some Danmei novels in terms of reading, where, like, MXTX is very easy. Thousand Autumns can sometimes read like a textbook. Where would you put Golden Stage on that? Because I feel like some people do get very nervous going into other Danmei because you read the first line and you're like, wait, what just...
That's actually a really good question. Thank you for asking, Heather. I will say that the first 5 or 6 chapters are very, very heavily...
They're historical. I've read the first couple of chapters. The first couple of chapters are difficult because they're like history and this guy and this
real
happened,
life things
this
that
sect.
happen. Occasionally they'll mention somebody and you're like, this is probably a significant person, but I don't know who this is. Or when they do time skips where they're like, oh, it's been 3 years and they're still separated, they give you more background.
Like history,
those can be difficult to read. It is okay to, like, skim them, because what I have noticed what Golden Stage is really good at is if there's a character that has come in early on and then disappears and then comes back in, they will remind you who they are. They'll be like, oh, this was a servant of
my
Fu
brother's
Shen's sister.
uncles. Like,
yeah, exactly. Anytime that Fu Shen's, like, evil stepmother pops up, they remind you who she is.
I think the other important thing, at least from what I've heard and what I understand, MXTX, Erha, Thousand Autumns, those are all cultivation based. This is very, like, martial based. So there's no cultivation aspect in it. So, and I feel like that is very different for other people as well.
There's a couple chapters where they talk about cultivation, but it's a mysterious concept that they're just like, oh, this is a fantasy thing. It's a little bit of a different pace. That being said, like, Fu Shen and Xiaohan more than make up for there being no cultivation. Like, they are legitimately just read the book for
no
them.
magic.
Because it is the sweetest
love.
romance. They talk about the gods, they talk about, like, fox spirits once or twice, but nothing actually comes into
this novel has so much for 47 chapters.
Yeah,
I'm like,
wow.
It does.
Yeah, really. I mean, because, like, obviously, like, qi and everything is in, like, Chinese lore and stuff like that, so it's always going to come up.
If you've read, like, Clear Muddy Loss of Love, I feel like Golden Stage can read very similar to it, because, I mean, there's no cultivation in that, and it has the same kind of, like, the plot is, like, political. Obviously, Clear Muddy Loss of Love is, like, enormous, and also not Danmei, it's Baihe, but that's besides the point. I mean, I personally love, like, political drama novels. I mean, I, like, eat that stuff up, but it's also the politics are, like, not actually that important in Golden Stage.
Like, I personally don't like politics or novels that are politically driven, because it can be a lot. It's very easy to just be like, this is too much court drama.
And then this guy doesn't like this guy, and then that one, like,
it has a lot.
That
like,
yeah.
I won't lie. I will say that there is a lot in Golden Stage, and it's a lot of the plot comes from the court drama. But it's also well paced, and there's enough moments that are just Yao Han and Fu Shen being cute, being sweet, and being involved in the court drama and doing stuff for each other, that it makes it worth it to read.
And as long as you're just, like, kind of vaguely following along, it's not that hard. A lot of the politics specifically mentioned at the beginning are almost all exposition, and really occasionally they will come back into play. Like, they'll be like, oh, and these are the guys that Fu Shen is the general fighting, doing that stuff, and but a lot of it doesn't really do much. It's just kind of like, hey, this is the political climate, and you have
It's
to be
there
like,
for world
cool,
building.
I'm never thinking about that again. It's like, you don't need to know that. It's good.
I just want to get to those moments where like he dives into the river, like the stupid shit that
Honestly,
happens. I wanna get to that.
Read the novel. That's
I
what
will
you should be
skim
reading
until I
it
get to
for.
those points.
Because, like, those are the moments that you're going to stand out to you, that you're going to remember, that make it worthwhile. But yeah, Golden Stage is actually pretty short for Danmei. It's like 47 chapters plus, I think there's 4 official extras and then like a couple
and all
blips.
of this happens?
And all of this happens. They're pretty
And
long
there's
chapters.
more?
Yeah, there's more. There's
What the
more.
heck?
So that being said,
Yay.
let's go ahead and introduce the main characters. The 2 main characters are Fu Shen, who is, I think he's the bottom. Yeah, he's the bottom, but he doesn't act like a bottom. I actually thought for a long time he was going to be the top, but then he ended up being the bottom, and I was like, he's a very bratty bottom. I love him. So Fu Shen he's a general in the army in China. He works under the emperor. He's like the son of a line of generals that are very famous. They hold, I think it's the northern border, the northern or southern border, I forget which. And at the start of the novel, he has been paralyzed by an attack. So he's coming back to the capital, and he basically is like, he doesn't know what to do with his life, and the emperor's afraid that now that he's back, he's very popular with the people, so he's got to do something to keep this dude preoccupied so that this guy doesn't rise up and overthrow him, as most emperors like to do. Be paranoid in their old age. So he decides that he's going to marry Fu Shen to his right-hand man, who is the head of the Flying Dragon Guard, which I just love the name, the Flying Dragon Guard, who is the, and that right-hand man is Yan Xiaohan. And he is basically the emperor's eyes and ears, and he kind of, he's like the Secret Service for the emperor.
He's just one guy.
And he has this very strict, very cruel reputation as just like a guy who doesn't laugh, who's very serious, who like will come in and like he's like the IRS, like he knows everything, he goes everywhere.
Like Lan Wangji vibes?
No, like more cruel than Lan. Like people are
Whoa.
legitimately afraid of him and his cruelty. And then as you read the novel, literally the cruelest thing he does is he makes his subordinates stand upside down on a wall because they pissed him off because they were teasing him about his relationship. That's the cruelest thing he does to like the people that he knows. He does some other things, like when people threaten things that he cares about, he will get down and get like nasty about things, but he's utterly devoted to Fu Shen, who he gets engaged to because the emperor is like, The fun part about their relationship, the fact that the emperor engages them, is that they are known public enemies of each other. They cannot stand each other. They are known to butt heads whenever they show up together in the same circles. And the emperor is like, you're gonna get married now. And this happens in like chapter 17 or something. It's pretty early on in the novel. But secretly, these two have been in love since they were like 15. They just had a major falling out because Xiaohan actually used Fu Shen to find out a plot against the emperor and kind of betrayed his trust. So you find out, like, as the story goes along, you find out that they've known each other and they've actually been in love this whole time. And it's so freaking sweet. But, like, you don't know that at first. You just, like, know that they kind of hate each other. And Fu Shen is like, I'm not marrying you. This is not happening. But then they do, and it's adorable. Like, they have the antagonistic relationship, but you also see, like, when they get married, Fu Shen moves into Xiaohan's home. And Xiaohan has completely redone his home. Like, he's taken out all of the steps because Fu Shen is in a wheelchair. So he's taken out all of the steps and replaced them with ramps. He's completely redone his bathhouse so that it's no longer like a bath that you have to get up and get into. It's now a pool, like, and you can roll down into it in a wheelchair ramp. So he's redone that. He's like redone all the beds to make them at a level that Fu Shen can get into and out of comfortably. He's redone like all of his chairs and stuff. And that's the moment you start going, this guy is really thoughtful for someone who's supposed to hate this dude.
The flower throwing that kicks off their...
God, okay, so the flower throwing happens when they are literally 15.
Oh.
So this is the first moment they have.
Is that just a Danmei trope where you eat flowers at your love?
So
because Wei-Wuxian did this too.
Yeah.
It's a historical thing.
Oh.
At least in my understanding, based on the research I did to Golden Stage, young women would throw flowers at men riding through the street or returning from war, and if they hit them, that was supposed to be like sort of an engagement or a way to meet them.
All right, so notes. I have to throw flowers at you.
So Fu Shen is out riding with his bunch of because he's from a noble family, so he's got a bunch of noble friends, and they're out riding, and women are throwing flowers at them. At the same time that this is happening, Xiaohan, who's like who's umbrella. 15, and he is already head of the Flying Dragon Guard, is riding the opposite directions, and they pass each other. And somebody throws a lily at Fu Shen, and he just happens to twist, so it comes over his shoulder, so it looks like he's the one who throws it, and it hits Xiaohan. It's a two-headed lily, which, in context means that they are born of the same flower and fated to be together. So it hits Xiaohan, and Xiaohan picks it up and looks at Fu Shen, and they make eye contact, and Fu Shen is just like, holy shit, who was that guy? And they just keep going. And then they don't meet again for another 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
I appreciate flower symbolism a lot. I use it a lot in my cosplay shoots, a lot. So any flower symbolism, I'm like, I see what you did there. It's the same with Mao and outside of his mother's house and the peony and I love flower meanings, symbolism. So it's that shit's.
You know how sometimes you're just reading something kind of like the monkey people in Thousand Autumns that I have to bring up every time I talk about this?
Not the monkey people again.
We will have a whole section about the monkey people when we do the Thousand Autumns review. That'll be the next video. So come back for that. So you know how you're just reading and you're like, this is my really nice, sweet, romantic, historical novel, and then all of a sudden you're like, sex pollen. And you're just like,
yeah.
Okay. All right, that's the thing.
Suddenly it's turned into fuck or die plot. What happened to the original plot of the movie?
Literally, when I was reading it, I was like, I got to that part and I was like, wait, is this where the story's going? Is this what it's about? Is this a fuck or die sex pollen novel? That's not what I thought this was.
What happened to the original plot of the movie?
It is really good, and I will say they did do this in a way it's not over the top, it's not scum villain, but it is there, and so it's just kind of one of those moments where you're like, hello,
Scum villain was like, fuck to save the world. This is a little bit less stakes than that.
We have to fuck to save your life. It's more like that's how we work the poison out of your body. And they did pace it well, and it was
several
actually
days of fucking.
No, it's a year.
A year?
It's a year. What? Yeah. It's a year. It's a year. The doctor specifically says you're gonna have to fuck anytime the urge comes upon him for the next year. Make sure you do it right there, or it could have negative energy.
I love imagining Danmei scenarios in real life. So just imagine going to your doctor and your doctor looks you in the eyes and goes, "Hey, so because of this drug you took, you have to fuck your husband a lot for the next year." This is a medical condition. This is
cure is gay sex. That's it. That's all you.
This is part of the medical practice. I am a doctor, and I'm telling you to have sex for a year straight.
So it's hilarious too because Fu Shen, again, who's the one who's not poisoned, is the bottom. And he's like, I can't fuck you anymore. We gotta figure something out because this is really difficult for me.
He's like, my back hurts.
No more. So then they have to get creative. And I'm just like,
how do they get...
Again, it's not explicit.
Okay.
It's not explicit. They just talk about what they've done before, and he'll be like, maybe I'll just use my hand on you next time or something. So it's very funny. They actually end up fucking in a bush at one point, because Xiaohan, they're trying to still investigate this drug plot. They're still trying to find out who is running this drug cartel, and they're just spying on this village that's running the drug cartel. Xiaohan's kind of doing the whole nudge thing, and Fu Shen's like, we do not have time to go back to the inn. We can't go back to the inn. And Xiaohan's like, I know, but we got it right now.
They pulled the Sims love bush thing. There's an item in the Sims where it's a bush and your Sims can woohoo in it. And that's literally the first thing that came to my brain when you said they fucked in a bush.
Well, I thought of like Wang Xin too, because all the extra scenes are coming out for that one
That's
right now.
true.
But
That's
okay,
the
but
last
you
chapter of
said
Moda.
you said this was like a drug cartel, like big like drug thing. So can you imagine if this drug has that effect and they're pushing this out onto the people? How many people?
Okay,
have
so
to fuck?
the reason they find out about this drug is because somebody has fucked himself to death.
Yeah, okay, so like there's
And
like
it's
a
somebody that
Yes.
Fu Shen
There
knew.
is a-
It's a dude that Fu Shen grew up with who started taking this drug and then he fucks himself to death.
But the best part about that is too. So Yan Jiaohan has to go to the brothel, because he's investigating, and he comes out of the brothel, and guess who's there? It's Fu Shen, and Yan Jiaohan is like, oh. Fuck, it's not what it looks like. Like, it's not what it looks like. And Fu Shen at first, he's like, how could my husband do this to me? And Yashan's like, no. And then Fu Shen's like, no, I get it. Like, genuinely, like, it's not.
Yeah, no,
it's
he
like,
pulls him aside into this
think-
alley and like he fucks with him for a good couple minutes and Xiaohan's just like, you could see the beads of sweat and he's just like, no, and then Fu Shen's like, yeah, dude, I know, it's fine. It's good.
my
Yeah,
friend.
and
my
then-
friend
and then I
died
think
there.
he actually-
to like
I think it turns into a really sweet moment because I think he actually gives him like his fan at that point is like, you look really hot, take my fan. And then Xiaohan ends up carrying that like with him for like the rest of the novel and he like will hold it when he misses him.
The thing about it too is it's like you think it's gonna set up like this whole like miscommunication plot because that's how novels and Danmei works is like you don't talk about it, and so you're like, no, you idiots, this isn't what it looks like, and then they're literally like, oh yeah, it's okay, like I get it, man, and I was like, oh.
Any sort of drama that the main couple has is just like that. You're like, oh no, and then they sit down and they talk about it. And it works out. And it's amazing. So it turns into a really sweet moment, but it's just of course, Fu Shen is right there
That's
when he comes out of the
pretty
brothel.
significant fuck or die subplot, though.
Yeah, no,
And,
it is. Some of my favorite moments that are not involving the fuck or die plot, as weird as it sounds, they actually spend the majority of the novel separated in some form or another because either it's before they get married or war. There's a lot of war. There's like two different
So much
wars.
war.
There's so much war. And Fu Shen being
Remember
a
the
general
war, the Great
who
War.
has kind of regained the ability to move. The Emperor keeps sending him out to war in hopes that he'll die. So they end up being separated quite a bit in the novel. And there's one point where they get separated and cut off from each other. The invading army literally comes between them, between like the capital city and where the outpost that Fu Shen and his men are. So they literally can't go visit each other. And it's for a period of like 4 or 5 years. It's a long
really?
time.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So anyway, so they've been separated for like a year or something now, and Fu Shen on the front is just like, I miss my husband. And they go back and forth calling each other wife. Like they're like, I'm not the wife, you're the wife, you know. So they go back and forth. So they'll always be like, I miss my wife, and call each other wife. Which I think is really funny and really adorable because they have that sort of dynamic. So Fu Shen over there is like, I miss my wife. And he's like, I really need to find a way to get through to my wife to just let her know that I'm thinking about her. And like everybody that he's close to, like his command staff, all know that he's married to another man. And they're just like, yes, sir, what can we do, you know? And he's like, bring me my bow. And they're like, huh? So they bring him his bow and he starts shooting geese. And he shoots like 5 or 6 or something. And he's like, okay, take the geese to the doctor, have the doctor fix them up, and then attach this note to all of their legs.
All it says on the note is, how does mine wife fare? That's all it says.
He releases them, and he lets them go.
That's
And
going to be on
then
your Christmas card
then-
this year, your birthday card. That's going to be on your birthday card.
I would tell you to raise your standards, but and then Xiaohan gets it. He gets the frickin' letter because somebody brings a goose to the Capitol and be like, this one is worth extra because it's got a note to its leg that says, like, how does mine wife fare? And he's like, I need that note. And he's like, this can't be for me, but I need that note. So he gets it and he looks at it and he's like, this is my husband's handwriting. Like, he's alive, and it like makes him ridiculously happy. And he actually, I think, ends up keeping it for like the rest of the novel, just like in his
the note.
The note, you idiot. He keeps the goose. No, the goose is dead at that point. And then when they get reunited, he's like, I got your note. And Fu Shen is just like, oh, I sent like 7 geese with that note every day for a year.
Like you're like you need to raise your standards. I'm just like, all right, Goose. How does mine wife fare in a note randomly?
No fuck or die poison, please, though. No.
I don't even, that doesn't exist in real life. I was gonna say, so with the reunion, I kind of picture like the field, like with the grass blowing and like them just like running slow motion dramatically.
Okay.
No, it's nothing like that. It is so much better.
So they finally made a path through this conquering army, and they send out a scouting team to go meet the people on the front, who's Fu Shen's army. And of course, Xiao Han insists on going with them.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like converging.
Army, yeah.
And Fu Shen comes out of the woods. He comes out of these woods on the bank of a river, and at the same time, another like troop emerges on the other bank, and lo and behold, who's in the head of that troop but his husband, Xiao Han, and they just stop and they stare at each other for like 5 full minutes, like just nothing happens, and everybody's just like, are they okay? And they're like, that is the general's husband, right? And they're like, do you think they don't recognize each other? And then all of a sudden, Xiao Han just like leaps off his horse. He's in full armor. He leaps off his horse.
Oh God, he was
and he
so graceful
into the river.
Oh
and
my
he
God.
starts like going across the river, and he starts drowning because he's in full freaking armor, and he's like drowning. And so Fu Shen is just like, hold my horse, I have to go save my idiot wife. And he wades out into the river, and he scoops up Xiao Han, and they like go back to the river, and he puts him down, and then they just stare at each other for like another 5 minutes.
That has Bing Hit vibes.
That is some shit that I would.
Well, he has to also, he's like, you are stupid.
They stare at each other for about 5 minutes, and then their underlings are like, I'm give them a minute, you know. So they kind of clear out, and then they finally like embrace.
I'm just picturing Bing
like,
Shu doing that. I'm picturing Binga just like diving and can't swim in the river, and Chenju is like, God, why is this me? It's mine. I'm gonna go get it. Give me a sec.
He's like, he sees Yan Zhaohan jump in the river. He's like, oh, that's not my problem. Oh wait, shoot, it is my problem.
I relate to this on a personal level, and just like the stupid stuff I do in like cosplay that is like vaguely like threatening to my health. Head empty, only husband, no brain cell.
You know, and I think they like Fu Shen is even like, what were you thinking?
That's
like
after-
you could have crossed the bridge, which is right there. Like you could have ridden your horse across. He's like, what were you thinking? And
there was a
Xiao Han-
bridge.
Xiao Han is just like, I couldn't wait 1 more minute to be in your arms.
This is after staring for 5 minutes with a
Right.
loading screen.
Right.
The reunion is very, very good. It's actually excellent.
I think this is actually the reunion where they start talking about, they reveal that he got the goose letters, and then they also start talking about how they don't feel like they're connecting, which, yeah, they haven't been together in 5 years. So they go for a walk, and they sit down, and they talk about, they're like, I don't know who you are anymore, like, I feel like we haven't connected, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and
no,
they're like, we need to, like, just start working on our communication, and then they do. And it's just...
It's very healthy.
Yeah, it's
very
very healthy.
healthy.
And that's the chapter the author was like, I need to give them therapy. And I'm like, no, they're doing great.
There's another moment. Okay, so it's another one where I'm just like, I love it. So Fu Shen is like dying. He is dying. And Yan Zhaohan is like trying to cope very poorly. And he looks at him and he kind of realizes like, oops, oh no. And so what he thinks to himself is he's like, I'm going to go back to the capital, kill the emperor, and then kill myself. What is it? He says, families turn to dust together, no exceptions. And he just pulls the move. He's like, if my husband dies, I will kill everyone in this room, and then myself. And while that's like really like, whoa, dude, it's also like really, really touching.
Honestly, Xiao Han is so in love with Fu Shen. Like, you can see it.
He has the last line in the novel. It's not that he can't be apart from me, it's that I can't bear to be apart from him, you know? And you're like, oh.
I love Xiao Han. If I want to cosplay him, I love him to death. I want to cosplay him.
New universal Danmei cosplay idea. You dress him in like a green morph suit with like a box of glitter that's labeled sex pollen. Just throw it.
Every costume that runs away from you.
And you just hand them a card that says new tag unlocked, fuck or die.
to wrap things up, because my tablet's about to die. If you are looking to read the official English version of Golden Stage, again, it just came out. It's by Peach Flower House. I haven't gotten my copy yet, so I don't know how good it is, but I have very high hopes. So let me know if you've read it, if you like Golden Stage or Golden Terrace.
If you're gonna cosplay from it,
if you're gonna cosplay from it, please let me know, because I want to cosplay.
Please
from
do.
I think the next installment in this series will be Thousand Autumns, so you're welcome to come and join us for that. If you have other suggestions of Danmei for me to review, drop them below. Thank you for listening to this video. So again, I'm Chaotic Neutral Cosplay. You can find me here. You can find me on Instagram.
also Instagram, all the social medias. Actually, I just use Perfection, and I'm linked on everyone's accounts. You'll find me.
I'm pretty much one hell of a cosplayer on everything, although that could be changing to Valkyrie and Cos, but I don't know if that's yeah, I mean, I do Danmei stuff and all that, but yeah, that's where you can find me.
I am again Cloudpop.cos on anywhere that you would probably be looking for me.
I will drop everybody's social medias below, so go follow them because they're also amazing. If you enjoyed this video, you know the drill, like, follow, share, blah blah blah, and we will see you in the next one.